Hello, I'm David Hill, and welcome to Caldwell County Today. The gentleman that we're going to have on today's show is somebody that most of you have seen, I think, on 3 different occasions. This actually is the 4th time that we've had Joe Hartley back on here. Joe Hartley is in possession of hundreds, perhaps even thousands of old pictures about Caldwell County. And we've talked in the past about how Joe got started in photography and his interest in photography, so we won't spend a lot of time doing that today. But what we have today is some more pictures. Most of them we haven't shown before. So Joe, sir, thank you very much for coming back.
Glad to be here.
And thank you very much for bringing some more old pictures.
Yes, sir.
Now, have you had a birthday since the last time we were on here?
Working on number 80.
Number 80.
About 5 months.
So in 5 more months, you'll be 80 years old. So Joe is living history. I think what we're going to do, Joe, is start back in 1849. You got a
Just
couple.
a little bitty fellow then.
You was just a little tiny fella in 1849. But we got a picture of some bridges. And I think we've got a little bit of history about these bridges. And I'm going to read this history as our audience is looking at these pictures, but about where the current bridge is on 321, I think, is where these pictures were taken. Is that about right?
That's right.
So where the current bridge is, as you travel from Caldwell into Catawba County on 321, is where you're looking at in these pictures. But the Horsford Bridge, connecting Catawba and Caldwell counties, was built in 1849 by the Catawba County Toll Bridge Company. This was a privately held company composed of a group of investors. In the 1880s, the town of Hickory purchased the bridge, and they eliminated the toll. This bridge accommodated a great deal of traffic from mountain farmers who sold their products in downtown Hickory. According to Dr. Gary Fries, author of The Catawbans, this bridge was the first successful effort to bridge the upper Catawba River. The bridge was destroyed in a May 1901 flood caused by 4 consecutive days of torrential rain. The replacement bridge was destroyed in the July 1916 flood, when 37 inches of rain fell during a 36-hour period. The 1917 Horsford Bridge that you're looking at was built to replace the wooden Horsford Bridge. After Oxford Dam was constructed in the 1920s by Duke Power Company, the waters of Lake Hickory rose too high for this bridge to be used, and then it was later dynamited and replaced. So there, Joe, is some history from 1849 about the bridge
To
now getting from here to there. Now we have some pictures that, what we're going to do, and I forgot to tell you this, what Joe's been doing is taking some modern pictures. What we're going to do is take some of these old pictures, show those to you first, and perhaps by the time Joe gets around to telling you where exactly it is, you would have guessed it. So what we're going to do is take a look at some pictures almost like then and now. All right, Joe, the very first picture we have is Mrs. Marley's tea house.
Tea house.
Do you know much about the tea
Yeah,
house?
all I can tell you, they served meals just like a restaurant, and they had rooms upstairs that people could board, spend the night in. And this was right beside of the old Avon Theater. You can see it in the back, on the right side.
All right, so that bricked building to the right side of the picture is
the Avon Theater.
the Avon Theater.
Yeah. And this old 20-some model car sitting down on the right side of the picture. I don't know what it is, but it's old.
All right, then Mrs. Marley's tea house was torn down, and in its place
Kroll
was
service station.
Kroll Service Station. And again, the Avon Theater.
And it's still in the background.
Is that brick building in the background.
A lot of people will remember a number 2 taxi was there. That was the telephone number. It was 2. And they had 1 cab as far as I know, and Ben, somebody drove it.
Well, but the people can see, looking at the picture, that the telephone number is 2.
It's 2. That was it
All
actually.
you did was dial number 2, and you got them. All right, then the Sinclair gas station no longer was in existence, and actually the Avon was no longer in existence.
And that one.
So now what we're looking at is that same location, but this was right before the new annexed part of the courthouse was built. Is that
Yep.
correct?
Right.
So we, at that location there where the new courthouse is now, Mrs. Marley's tea house
Yep.
used to be there.
Kroll's.
Kroll's.
Yep.
What, can you remember anything else that
No,
might have been there?
Yes, they was before, after Kroll, 2 lawyers built some offices in that same lot.
Uh-huh.
And Kroll's, the filling station was torn down, and they built these office buildings. And then they was tore down, and to put the new courthouse addition,
And
which
it-
is that.
And then, of
That's
course,
that's the new addition.
the picture we're looking at
That's
now
now.
is a picture that
That's-
was just recently
That
taken.
was about 2 weeks ago.
So from Mrs. Marley's tea house to the courthouse.
Yep.
Many years, though, that took place there, didn't it? All right. I guess we're looking at downtown Lenoir on this one, aren't we?
West Harper, and First Union National Bank, McNair's Drug Store, and then Pender's, that was a grocery store. Now, the McNair's was a drug store, Pender's a grocery store, and the one on the corner was Moore's Bookstore. I forget his first name, initials. And all of those buildings are still there. And the building on the right was a Mutual Building Loan at that time.
Looking at those cars, what are we
That-
looking, early 30s perhaps?
Something here in the 30s, it looks like.
All right. And now here's the picture of what that
That's
same shop
today.
looks like today.
That was 2 or 3 weeks ago.
And they did change the front of the buildings that go down through there, but
City office is in the big one, and there's a restaurant in the next one and so forth, and I don't know what they are now.
all right, this, and again, looking at those cars, we're back in the 30s, I would think. But
That's the Fidelity Building, Mr. DeMitt. That was his, and there's no building behind it, or there's none on the right side of it. Then, when that was made, it was back in the 30s. But it's the building, it's just exactly like that, and it's still there today.
But what was the Fidelity building?
They had just different offices. There was doctor's offices in the downstairs in the back. There was a CP office. Mr. Dodd had the upstairs building, part of the upstairs building, and it was just office building. There it is today.
No, this is not today.
No, that's what
this is-
Correda. Yeah, that's
Yeah, this is
53.
from 1953.
1953. The Correda shop was above it.
All right, so the Fidelity building really hadn't,
It's same
Changed
building.
much,
It hasn't changed any.
but they did build that building right beside it, to the right of it. And then here, I believe, we have
That's the present
a
building.
present picture of,
And it still looks the same.
yeah, the Fidelity building really hadn't changed since it was built.
Now, the buildings on the right are all different.
Yeah. All right, now here, Joe, is a real old picture.
I
Where,
think it says 1942, July the 2nd, or
Right.
something like that.
where is this?
That was coming up, Belks. The big building in the center is Belks. The one page on the left is Lenoir Fire Department, and the Guarantee Store. Now that's coming north towards the middle of town. Now the monument, they're headed towards the monument. They're coming from the south to north, let's say, North Main Street. They're on South Main now.
Okay. And then here
There's the same one.
is the same picture.
Belks
Today.
is still there. The Guarantee Store is there, but it's something else, and the fire department building is gone. It's the last one on the left it's gone.
All right, this is
Greer Funeral Home.
Greer Funeral Home?
Yep.
Uh,
I'm sure those, I guess they're hearses. I'm sure they're in the 30s. They look like they are.
All right, then here,
That's a different angle.
that's just a different angle of Greer
And
Funeral
I've always
Home.
thought it was such a pretty picture with
All
the
right.
trees to frame it, and I just made a pretty picture.
But that house no longer exists.
It's all gone.
So this is a picture now of what it looks like today.
That's what it is today.
And where exactly is this address, Joe? Where is this in town?
Right exactly where this other building was at. It's exactly the same place.
All right, Joe, the old Greer Funeral Home is, as we said, no longer there, but where was it located? For those people who don't know where.
That's West Avenue, just a few blocks from here.
Okay. All right, now we have a picture of a gentleman that I think
Irvin Smith.
most people know his name.
Smith, well, that's where the Smith Crossroads came from later on. And that's his daughter, Frances. Somebody told me that was a 33 or 34 Ford. He was the Ford dealer here in Lenoir.
All right, here we have,
That's all the people that work for him.
that's Mr. Smith there in the center
And the daughter.
lower with his daughter. If it isn't a V8, it's out of date.
Yeah.
So that was the Ford dealership entire staff, it looks
Yep.
like it.
That was it.
All right, so for those people who didn't know where that dealership was located,
There's where it's located.
there's where it was.
It's at the Ace. It was the Western Auto, and they changed it the name of it to Ace something, and so that's the present building right today. That's where the Ford place was originally in the 30s.
And you took that picture standing over on the sidewalk next to Kincaid Insurance,
Kincaid Insurance.
looking back across over there. All right, here we've got some guys with a fire truck.
That's a lot of very prominent men here in Lenoir. There's doctors, there's lawyers, there's just everybody. And very few of them are living, but
What about
that's
that?
in front of the old Lenoir Fire Department.
And where,
And that's on South Main.
the old fire department on
Yeah.
South Main? All right, now here's one, well, it says 1935, City
That's
Hall.
the same building, same place. Those were modern trucks in that day.
Now here's another picture of the same building, but it looks like they might have remodeled the left
A little bit.
side of it, and actually the Lenoir City offices are
It
in
was
there
on
now.
the left, yeah.
Does this building still exist today?
No, that's all gone.
That building's all gone.
And
So now we have,
that's the present Lenoir Fire Department. That's a new one. It was built in the late 60s, and that's where they're at now.
I know, this looks like a war zone somewhere.
That's the Broad Hill Walking Park, a long time ago, and that's the lake area now, which it is a lake now. And there's a big pipe runs down the middle of that. I don't know what it is. And the rock quarry on the right side, it's still there, just like that is.
Okay. And here looks
That's-
like a,
Same picture, but it's got water in the lake now. Then, I mean. That's what it looks like now. They've got the lake and the deck and all that down on the front end of the other end. And the rock quarry is still over on the right side, the same position. Castle Bridge,
All right, so this is Castle Bridge.
1952, October. I well remember, I made that.
So we got some guys fishing up there, it looks like.
Fishing off the bridge, yep. That's all gone.
Now
The
that
piers are still still in the lake, sticking out of the water.
All right, so the picture we're going to look at next is,
There it is.
that's the bridge today.
That's the present bridge and the old piers. That was a stormy, cloudy day when I made that picture. And it's not very good, but you can see the new bridge and the piers.
All right, looks like we got Barger Ash.
Barger Ash Roofing Company. That is on East Harper. It's right behind the present fire department now. And this was in the early 40s when that was in business. I think that's right. And part of that building is still there, I think. That is the Barger Ash Roofing Company now out on 18.
All right, but you have a picture of the City Cafe. Why is that in
That's
here?
where the Barger Ash, that was the original building was there. The first building we looked at,
So the
old one, the group them in on it, that's the same place. That's 321 North at Valmead School. Now the road, they had to put a bridge across the road, just a walking bridge for the children to cross the highway. And now it's not been paved long. The road, before you get to the car park, it goes down by Valmead Fire Department, and at that time it was not even paved. So it had to have been in the real early 40s when that picture was made. And the bridge, I've been told, is at Blowing Rock now at the golf course. It crosses the 321 at Blowing Rock and at the golf course.
All right, but this is looking
That's
south
looking south.
on
That's looking
321.
south, right.
And that bridge is a walking bridge getting over to Valmead School.
The school's on the right, yeah.
And there where that car is, near the center of the picture, that road coming in from the right
It wasn't even paved then.
is what is
Now it's-
Creekway Drive now.
It goes down to, it meets Creek, it's
And
North Main.
Yeah, the creek,
North Main Street.
Valmead Fire Department's right there.
There it
And
is now.
Here's one from about the same spot.
Same position, same place, and looking the same direction. It's quite a few changes.
A lot of changes. Now, Joe, I have no idea why all these guys are gathered in front of this building.
I don't either. There's a little restaurant or something between Bowers and this corner building, and I don't know what's going on there.
So this is that mid to late 30s, perhaps?
Yeah, that car looks like it's in the late 30s or maybe a 1940. I'm not sure, but
this is on,
it's close to that.
But this is on Harper Avenue. Today's
That's-
Harper
yep, that's
Avenue.
Harper. Now Belk's is the far building on the right, and then there was Bowers, and then an empty space, and then this building on the corner.
And there's what it looks like today.
That's the same building on the corner and Belk's and the next one, but there's been another building built between them. They filled that space.
Yeah, I think on the far right of all these buildings now is Yonce Insurance, Deli and Cream is in there.
Yeah.
Kicks Radio
Right,
Station is in there. So that's what it looks like today. All right, now here's a shot looking down the street toward the center of town. There's the monument. I
That
don't
was
know.
probably in the 20s, I guess, or early 30s anyway.
Yeah.
That's looking right straight towards the monument, looking north. That's on South Main, looking toward north.
We got Bernhardt Siegel over there on the
the
left
left.
side.
There it is today.
And there it is today. Certainly looks a
Monument's
lot
gone.
different. Monument's gone.
Bernhardt Siegel is still there.
Bernhardt Siegel's still there. Everything else has changed though.
Yep.
All right, Cannon Paint Company. Of course, this picture is not really old, but Cannon Paint Company is no longer at this location.
No, they sold out and moved out.
Yeah, they're located out there at the beginning of Zach's Fork
Zach's
Road, I
Fork,
believe
yep,
now.
That's where they're at.
All right, but who in the world would guess what's there now?
That's the pawn shop.
There we have American Trade and Loan.
Yep.
That's the Cannon Paint store building right there.
The building on the right side of the building is the same building. They've added on all the left. Blackwelder Hospital. Nice building, pretty building. But
No.
it's gone,
No longer there.
no longer there.
But it was there for a long time. And actually, there's nothing there now.
Now we've got a nice weed patch,
Well, we got a vacant lot.
vacant lot.
City of Lenoir is working very hard to get some developer to take a look at that spot and get something in there. But that the picture you're looking at right now is where Blackwelder Hospital used to
Yep.
be. Now here we've got an old truck with some awfully thin tires on it, so that's back in the 20s.
Had to been in the, or even the teens. I don't know when the solid tires went out of business, but that's an old truck.
But that's the Standard Gasoline Company. You pull up there and fill up with the gasoline. And here's another shot of the same station, but from a different angle. And I bet nobody can guess where that used to be located. But right there is where it used to be,
That's it. That's the
where the
spot.
current Kincaid Insurance Agency is
That's-
located, is
that's
where
it.
that,
That's the exact place.
that's where the Standard Gasoline Motor Oil Station used to be.
Yep.
Now here we have a drive-in restaurant with curb
Well,
service.
It was the Crossroad Restaurant. That's what most of people called it. And there's a Thunderbird sitting in front of it. I don't remember his name, but they was in business a long time. They was a Pete Cavacci. He run that station, run that restaurant along quite a few years, and a lot of people eat there. It was a good place to eat. That's all gone.
And it became Smith's Crossroads
That's
after
it, Chris. That's
Irvin
the
Smith moved his
Just
dealership out there.
Right, it's right at that, close to it, just across the street from it.
And he had his dealership out there. I think there was
It's all gone.
a motel.
Motel, all
Restaurant.
that. It was there then, but it's
But this is an aerial shot of Smith's Crossroads.
That's the crossroads.
With
Now, the motel was on the right side. There's a big white square sign over there. And the restaurant was over there on that side of the road. It's not there then, because this is a fairly late picture as far as the roads went. I mean, an early picture as far as the roads went, because there's the old crossroads, and all this in front of it's never been filled in. It's where Eckerd's is at now.
All right. And of course, the road that's running across about 2/3 of the way down the picture, running horizontally, is 321.
Yep, that's 321, and then the one running straight up, that's 18 East.
Now here's another aerial shot of the crossroads.
That's today.
Well, that's a little later though, because Smith's car dealership is still in there.
Is it still there? Oh, that, okay.
And here we got Morganton Boulevard coming in there at Harper. McDonald's hasn't been built yet. McDonald's would be right there in the very middle of the picture. But then as you go out to the crossroads, that's still not built up as we know it is today.
That is Ames, way up in the top left. That's where Kmart's at now.
Yeah. And what did it used to be?
That's Ames. It was a pretty good sized building. It's all torn down and Kmart built.
Yeah. Now, staying in the crossroads, and I'm sure a lot of people remember.
That's the Crossroads garage. I mean, the Crossroads service station, and it was built in the early '50s, about '55, I think, maybe. And it was there until Eckerd's. They bought that and built the Eckerd's building, which is
so the gas station was torn down.
That's Eckerd's.
And today, Eckerd's sits in that same location.
That's where the Crossroads service station was at.
And then here, of course, is a...
That's the present Crossroads.
That's the present Crossroads. Urban Smith would never have guessed it, would he?
And a lot of traffic.
I'm guessing, Joe, but that looks like it's back at the walking park.
That's the end of it, the rock prairie and all that. And it used to be, this is in the late 40s, was a city swimming pool was built over there. And the buildings looks like about more than half completed, and the pool probably. And that's where that's at.
So was that a public swimming?
Public swimming pool. There's what was started using it. It's completed, and I guess you just have to say that's just a bunch of dolls. That's all I can say.
Right, but the swimming pool's not there anymore.
No, that's all gone.
But it was at the walking park?
That's at the walking park. That's not there anymore. That was used by a lot of people in Lenoir back in the late 40s and 50s and 60s. And
Yeah.
I don't know when it was, how long it lasted.
All right, here's a picture of a building with Santa Claus up on top of him. What is this building?
That's at Hudson Cotton Mill, and Hayes people owned it and run it. And every Christmas they put the sleigh, the reindeers, and all this on top of the building, and it was real pretty, just real pretty. That's all, and that's what that was. Is a Christmas decoration. That's another shot, a little bit different
That was taken
angle.
at about the same time.
But it's just a different angle. They had all the snow and the trees and the reindeers and the sleigh and all. Now all this building is still there, but the windows are all closed up. They bricked up, and
Well, here I think we do have a picture of it today.
there it is today. That's just
And all the windows have been
all
bricked.
the windows are closed.
What's that building used for today? Do you know what it
It's
is?
a cotton mill. It's still in business.
Still
It's still running as far as I know.
Now, here's one, Joe, that we've looked at before, but I think we got a little more information on it now.
Yeah, I've had those two men standing at the left corner of that building. I've got 6 names for them 2 men. Different people called me and told me who they was. And I've got 6 different names, so we're not going to get in. I don't know who they are.
Well, we probably have the right names. We just
Well,
need to-
out of those 6, I'm sure 2 of them's right.
But now this Caldwell County Creamery Incorporated sat right next to a bunch of other buildings that we're looking at right now. We've got the Walter Turner Company Wholesale.
Now that's to the left side of the roofing company.
And then next to it is Stroop Grocery. And then even to the left of that is the Caldwell Wine Shop,
Yep.
wherein they sell quality wines. That's what the
A lot
sign
of the people
says.
remember the Stroop grocery store below it. And this Walter Turner, it was a big warehouse, a wholesale grocery
Yeah.
and so forth.
Also had a cafe down there
That's
on
a
the end,
cafe down at the corner.
on the far
The
left.
the street turned right down at the left-hand end of this and went up to the old depot. It's closed up now. And Lenoir Chair, number 1, was up that same street. But it's all closed now. And they're all gone.
All right, so here's a picture of that same area
Same
today.
way. And that's the Bentley Roofing. It's
Bentley
on the
Roofing Company is in the building where the creamery
Creamery was,
used to
right.
be.
Yep.
And then there's the dark building there on the center left. I guess that was the Stroop. Yeah, that was the Walter Turner Wholesale. And then the little building next to it with the awnings was Stroop Grocery. And then somewhere along the line, we lost the wine shop and the cafe.
The wine shop is somewhere down there.
But the creamery is now the Bentley Roofing Company.
I can tell you the story that's been told to me about this. The Happy Valley Lake Estates, with that picture that is over Happy Valley, the present Happy Valley, this group of people bought all this leased or bought the land. They were going to build a dam down the river on the Yadkin River and flood all of this stuff and build a big estate, sell lots and build houses all around this lake that they're going to form when they dam the river up. And it all fell through, and these vehicles on the right side, or on the side, it's got the Happy Valley Lake Estates on the back of them, but it all fell through. It never did go. But that was the idea they had, this real estate men, was to build a dam down the Yadkin River and dam up all of this. And the water was going to cover below this building, or near it, I reckon. But it never did prove out. They didn't do that.
Well, for those people trying to figure out where this is, if you turn right
You go by that,
off
you're going
of
from
321 there at the crossroads,
Cheeks Crossroads.
Cheeks Crossroads, turn right onto 268. This is just perhaps
This is just before you turn across the river and turn right on 268.
Yeah, there's a little community baseball field sits in
Used to
there right
be. It
now.
may be closed now since they built a bigger one up in front of the schoolhouse.
Yeah, they still use it. They still play ball on that.
They do.
But this is turning right off of 321 at Cheeks Crossroads and going perhaps a mile. A little community ball field will be there on your right, which would be just above where the Happy Valley Lake Estates building now sits. And then if you traveled out this road going off to the left side is where you would turn right and go on out 268 out through the Happy Valley. July 6th, 1938, the Lenoir Camera Club.
Yeah.
What do you know about these folks?
The man on the top left, I think this is right now, I may be mistaken, is Bill Whiston. He worked at Duke Power Company in the office. The fourth man over, the big shouldered man, was Ned McMillan. I know him. He run McMillan Electric Service here in the city for years and years. Them five dolls are sitting across the middle. I don't know who they are, but they've all.
You're referring to the young ladies.
Oh,
there.
the young ladies, yeah, that's
Yeah,
what they
so-
are. And these Groucho, the men, on the front row, the third one over is Collis Coffee.
Third from
Now, he run the
the second
north-
on the bottom. You're talking about the second guy.
Bottom. The third one over, left or right. He's Collis Coffee. He got a V shirt on. He operated the Lenoir stationery store right across the street from us now for years. I bought all my photography equipment from him. You could get a box of paper, 100 sheets of 2.5 by 3.5 paper for 90-some cents. You could get your developer a gallon powders to make a gallon. You could get that for about 80 or 90 cents. And then the other chemical you had to have, it was about the same price. You needed two and plenty of water. And he operated a Lenoir stationery store. I've got a list of the names of all of them somewhere, but I don't know where it's at. But I do know Collis Coffee and Ned McMillan and Bill Whiston and five dolls, five young ladies.
Five young ladies.
Five young ladies.
But I guess photography was
And that
pretty popular.
Was it 1936?
1936,
Yeah, that's-
July 6th.
Most of them had their little cameras with them. The old,
What kind of cameras are those?
ain't no Ted. This, 35 millimeter, it was just getting ready to come out. Yeah, these are big cameras. These are big folding cameras, and
Have you got some cameras like that?
yeah, Lynn, there's a lot of them still out in the collections. Very few of them that's used, but they're still out.
Now here we have the Granite Falls High School Band. I don't think we have any idea of the date.
Don't know. I found the picture. I don't know. Somebody's give it to me. I've meant to tell all the time, a lot of these pictures I didn't make. People would call me and tell me, said, we've got a picture of so-and-so, and would you like to have it, an old picture? And I would say, yes, if you'll let me have it and copy it. And then if people want a copy of them, I'll be glad to make them for them, give them to them if they want them. And just like this one, that's the Granite Falls High School Band, and these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people on it. And I don't know what the year may have been. I remember the heavyset man on the left, he was a principal, and I remembered him from somewhere. But people call and bring me these pictures. I didn't make them. I had nothing to do with them, but I wanted them to put in just with my collection. And most of these pictures, that's the way I got them.
Yeah.
There's very few that I have actually made, but that's the way I got most of these. Most of them came from Rufty, Dave Rufty. He was a professional photographer here in Lenoir for years. He was a good one too. And then the ones I told about, the Wall Brothers studio, I bought them, the negatives. There's about 125 of them. They was made here in Lenoir in the 20s and 30s. And then I've got about 100, and I've got to find out about them, about 100 negatives. Percy Deverick, he was done a lot of photography work. He had his own dark room, and he worked for the Rueton Club. I mean the Rotary Club. And I've got over 100 negatives of pictures of people. I don't know who they are that he made, and I've got to find somebody here in Lenoir from the Rotary that would like to have. I'll be glad to give them these negatives. They're the ones that need them. I don't need them. I don't know who the people are, and I'd be glad to give them to them if we can find somebody. And they find one of the older people, they can probably tell you who all of them are. I don't know any of them.
So that was the Rotary Club?
Rotary.
So anybody who's in the current
Yep.
Rotary clubs, if they'll contact us, you'll...
If they'll get in touch with me, I'll get the negatives all out, and we'll look at them, and they're welcome to them.
Okay.
Now they're just the negatives now, but I can make prints off of them if they want them. And but that take quite a while to do that, but I will if they want them. I think they ought to have them because it's a lot of history in the Rotary, because Percy was in this country since 1946. He came from Kentucky and married a girl here in Lenoir, and he made all these pictures. And they're good ones. They're all real good pictures. He worked at Kent Coffee. He made a few there, but most of these are Rotary.
Well, Joe, this is one that we've used before, but for the benefit of those who may be seeing some of your pictures for the first time, it's just like a cow pasture to me.
That was a Triplets Dairy a long time ago, and this was a big field across the highway. The highway runs straight through this picture, 321, going north and right to left. And this big field, they raise grain and stuff to feed the cattle. And in the background is Green Mountain, way back there. And the road on the right is the Zack's Fork Road. It makes a circle and goes all around this hill up here. And Percy Delbrick, the one I was mentioning a while ago, the Rotary, he made this picture, 1946, he told me. And then I went lately, a few weeks back, and made a picture from about the same position, as near as I thought would be about the same position. I made a picture of it to show what it looks like now. And that's it. That's the one. This is the president of Blue Ridge Electric Company. Over here's the Zack's Fork Road. Back here's Green Mountain. And here's the 321 North Highway. Now the old tree that's in that other picture at the highway finally fell down. It was old as all get out. It finally rotted and fell. They wouldn't cut it. They were going to leave it as long as it could stand.
All right, but
so that's
the first picture we looked at, just the pasture, now is where Blue Ridge Electric is located.
Yep. This one, this is the President Blue Ridge Electric now.
All right, now here we've got some more cows.
More same cows, just looking at us a different. He's standing in the same position to make the picture. He was looking east and made the one of the field. Now he's looking
south.
I don't know which way. I guess
No,
it's
it'd be
called
looking
northwest.
north.
It's northwest anyway.
Yeah, looking north.
Toward the Grandfather Mountain. And the Broad Hills office is in the middle of this big field now. And in the background is Crestview Church, not Crestview, a Calvary Church in the background. And most of these houses are still over there. And but Broad Hills office is right here in the middle of all of this.
All right, so that's the picture we're looking at right now.
That's the picture of Broad Hill. That's the present picture now. Now in the far background is the expo. It's a big, pretty good sized building, and it started out as antiques. You could buy anything. They just had everything there. Well, it's not that many people in it now. They got quite a few people still use it, but that's across the highway from Broad Hill's office, and that's the one we just looked
Broad
at.
Hill sits in what
It's
used,
still
what
there.
used to be a pasture for dairy
Dairy
cattle.
farm. It was a dairy. Yep.
How long was that dairy farm in business there?
Yeah, I don't know how long it had been there, but I know this was in '46, and the dairy had. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know it was.
But it had been there a long time.
Because I was going to Valmead School. I started in 1929, so the dairy farm was there after that, but I don't know how long it lasted.
How many grades did they have in school?
7 grades and 7 teachers. And you went at 8 o'clock in the morning, rain or shine, you walked, and each grade had a teacher. The 7th grade, the principal was the teacher, and no heat. They had a coal-fired furnace and radiators, and I never did, in those 7 years, I don't think I ever found a radiator that was hot, unless it was in the summertime. And no air conditioning, there wasn't no such thing. The air conditioner, nobody had them.
Yeah.
Now, they won't go to school unless it's air conditioned, nobody can. But the 7 grades and 7 teachers, and now with 7 grades, you've got 25 or 30 people, I guess, I don't know. The fella came to me one time. I run a machine shop. I was accused of running a low-grade blacksmith shop, which I don't mind that. Some of my friends, that's the way they looked at it. But this gentleman came to me, and I welded parts, just fixed things for him over a period of years. I got all of his work, because I didn't charge him anything. And he came to me one day with a little piece of weld, and I went ahead and welded it. And he said, you know, I charged him $2, and he gave me a $5, and I gave him his $3 change. He says, that's exactly right. He says, I learned that right over there at Valmead School. It was right close to the machine shop. He said, I learned that when I was in the 2nd grade. He says, I remember it just as well as yesterday because they expelled me for not shaving.
In the 2nd grade?
In the 2nd grade. So he remembered that. So I went to Valmead School 7 years, walked it. It was about a good quarter of a mile. Rain or shine, no buses.
Was that bridge still, was the bridge there when you were going to school there?
No, they didn't build the bridge till after I got, they was building, when they built the highway in 1940. Yeah, I
so
lived in 36.
321, as we know it today,
Yeah.
going through there, didn't even exist.
Yeah, I started the high school in 36, so I went 7 years at Valmead. And if you didn't learn to read and write in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade or whatever, you stayed in that grade another year. And I've got a picture of the 2nd grade, and there's a man standing in the background. He looks like he's about 21, and he's in the 2nd grade, and he can't get out because he can't make the grade. He's a good fellow.
Well, I'm sure he was. Where did you go to school after Valmead?
Happy Valley. Then Uncle Sam wanted me, and I wound up in China.
Taking pictures. Did you take pictures in China?
Very few, but I made some. I've got some I made over there. So, but I've been lucky.
Well, getting back to some of our pictures. What is this, R.J. Setzer?
R.J. Setzer.
What was that?
That's out on West Harper. I guess now would that be West Harper out where Fairfield's at? That's for West Harper. R.J. Setzer had this store a long, long time ago. I don't know what year this was. I wish I could have found out. I wished I had, but I didn't. But he was there, and he's on this picture. But the present building now belongs to Gibbons Electric. They bought it, all of it, and this is the right-hand end of that present building. And it was R.J. Setzer. That was a grocery. They made brooms. They had a part of that store. They would make real nice brooms and sell them.
But that's where, or Gibbons Electric is
That's
there
Gibbons Electric. That's
now.
the same building. This is where Setzer was, and the left side of this is where Gibbons, their office and so forth is in that now, Gibbons Electric. They use all of this building. I think Mr. Gibbons told me they bought it in early 50s maybe. They bought the building or whatever. I think that's right.
When did Setzer's stop being
I don't
a
know,
grocery
I don't
store?
know what, I don't know how long they was there.
All right, we got some log cabins in Lenoir.
Yep, that's out on East Harper. I've heard different stories. The last story I got, Mrs. Ferguson lives there now, and they bought it in 1956. She said this was built in 1936, and they bought it in 1956, I think she said, from Irvin Smith. Now, he was the man on the Ford,
Yeah.
the Ford picture, bought it from him. And this building, that I was told they had basketball games, they had different things for the schools, the annual, whatever they had for the schools. They would have all that there back in the 30s. Now, I mean, all the buildings are all still there, but this lady still lives there, and I'm gonna go. She asked me to come and see her, and I'm going to go and take her this picture, because I'm sure she'd like to have it.
All right, but for those people who don't know where these cabins are, or this cabin is.
Oh, you go out at East Harper to the stoplight at Hospital Avenue, and on the right is a printing company. The next building going east on the right is that building, is the log cabin. You can't miss them. This is the one that I went later and made a picture of a big group of trees. Now you can just can see the corner of the log cabin. The trees are so big. Now that other than there's no trees there. This is the same picture except a close-up of the cabin, the log cabin, and it's but there's a big tree in the front yard, and that first picture there was no trees on it at all, so it's been there quite a while.
Please visit and support our Caldwell Heritage Museum, 112 Vaden Street, Lenoir, North Carolina, 28645. Now in association with Lenoir and Caldwell County History page on Facebook.